Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas. That's Bradshaw, Furlong, Luca Moia, and Jeff Wall. Regular season football. And week one was a dandy. Still going on right now. As we're recording this one, we still have Monday Night Football taking place, which is certainly an interesting game, to say the least, between the Ravens and the Raiders. But seems like it's picking up a little bit more. Derek Carr got off to a bad start, so I don't know if we're going to be mentioning him too much in this episode. Because we want to talk about guys who have impressed us to get started. So, Bradshaw, I'll come to you. Who is somebody, whether it's a team, player, coach, that impressed you in week one?
I'm going to cop out here. I'm going to pick two guys, but it's two former Drew Brees backups, Teddy Bridgewater and Jameis Winston. I loved what Teddy did in his first game. I thought he spread the ball. I mean, we all know what Teddy does. Like, he doesn't take too many chances, but so obviously didn't have any picks. Threw a couple scores, kept the offense moving. Even when Jerry Jeudy went out, he looked good. He just looked solid. He looked like the right quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Like, it looks better than Drew Lock. It's not a surprise, but I was just really impressed with how he looked in his first game with his new team. And then how could you not be impressed by Jameis Winston in week one? My goodness. I mean, the man just unleashed all hell on the Green Bay Packers defense, much to the chagrin of the many Green Bay Packer fans that I know, including friend of the show and former guest Caleb Tilley. He was not happy after that week one shredding by Jameis Winston. So I'm going to go with those two guys. A bit of a cop-out. I couldn't really decide. My heart says Teddy, but I also just loved watching what Jameis Winston did.
Jameis with the LASIK eye surgery, he was absolutely winning at both those games. Weren't really close too much, but I didn't expect blowouts at all. That was pretty wild. Luca, let's go to you, man. Who impressed you the most in week one?
I don't think you can give out moral victories ever in sports, but I think Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys did that on Thursday night. When you come back from surgery and all the question marks around Dak, didn't play in preseason, they ran the ball. Like, Dak ran the ball 4 times. The whole offense ran the ball 14 times. So there was no run game at all. 58 times you go into the defending champions' home stadium and you almost pull it out. If there was anybody other than Tom Brady on that sideline, they probably win that game. So I was really impressed with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. My predictions looking good so far, even though they was a bit crazy last week. I forgot a couple teams, but I think right now, I think Dallas impressed me the most, and Dak Prescott is a huge, huge part of that. 58 times in his return and almost shocked the world on Thursday night. I think you have to give huge props to Dak and the offense.
And I don't think he's still 100% healthy yet. They were mentioning that shoulder, and you saw it in some throws where he didn't have enough, zip on it. So, man, wait till midseason where he'll be in full form, and, it's going to be lights out play from Dak. I will admit, when this podcast had a different name, I thought Carson Wentz was the better quarterback. I am wrong. I was an idiot then. Dak looks unbelievable. Jeff, what about you? Who impressed you the most in week one?
I'm impressed, I think, by the Arizona Cardinals defense. I knew that they were good. I think that they've been kind of, a little bit underplayed and undersold in terms of how good they have been even in the last year or so. I think they're definitely the better unit of the two. I think we'll see that going forward. But yeah, I was just generally very impressed by them. They looked extremely dominant. The Titans obviously did not look very good, but I think regardless, I think this is a top 10 defense, I think for sure, and may potentially see, all 4 teams from the NFC West make the playoffs, if that's even possible. I'm not sure, but that would be pretty crazy. And I think that'd be pretty cool if they could maybe manage even just a winning season. I think would be, enough to keep moving this thing forward, but don't overreact too much. But I definitely, that side of the ball was really, really impressive for me.
You mentioned the defense. I thought you were going to say the offense, because Kyler Murray looked like the MVP. He was fantastic. But you want to talk about Defensive Player of the Year, Chandler Jones, who got off to a hot start, 5 sacks. And I think there was, a little bit of talk early in the season that he was upset with the Cardinals, that he wasn't the highest paid, defensive player on his team, and it was J.J. Watt. Guess what? After a performance like that, where he kicked Taylor Lewan's ass the whole time, that's what gets you paid. For me, I'm surprised no one really mentioned these guys, because I was pretty surprised by their play, and that's what impressed me. I said first-round rookie left tackles. So, but there's 2 specifically. Penei Sewell, he was a 10th graded tackle on PFF. Again, he's going against former defensive rookie of the year, Nick Bosa. Didn't allow a sack to him. right? He didn't allow a sack in that game, allowed 6 pressures, but still, that's pretty impressive from most of training camp doing the right side. And then once Taylor Decker gets hurt, goes back to the left, and he looked fantastic on the left side. Great sign for that Lions franchise. And I'm happy for the Lions, right? They had a lot of fight in that game. They were getting blown out, and they nearly pulled off a miracle comeback. So that was pretty cool to see that. Another player, Rashawn Slater, man. But both these tackles opted out of the college football season. Didn't look like they missed a beat. Rashawn Slater, 13th graded tackle with players of 80 or more snaps. He only trailed Tyron Smith in pass blocking grade. He was fantastic. And again, against another defensive rookie of the year, Chase Young, who looked like crap against him. 0 pressure for Chase Young. Like Slater was that good. This Chargers offensive line, and we talked about it earlier today, that was their main focus, right? It was, we need to help Justin Herbert and make sure he stays protected. They did that against one of the best defensive lines in football, but I think it started with those 2 rookie left tackles. So I'm very impressed with them. Disappointment. This is a pleasure for me and Jeff to talk about, and it's easy answer here. Green Bay Packers offense was dog crap. 15 of 28 for Aaron Rodgers, 133 yards, 2 interceptions. Sorry. This is the guy who was talking all offseason about he wanted this, he wanted that, he wanted to be out of Green Bay. And his first game was an absolute stinker. An absolute stinker. Aaron Jones gets the big money. They didn't want to pay Corey Linsley. They pay Aaron Jones 7 touches, 22 yards. And Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in football, didn't look like it in this game. 5 catches, 56 yards. Just disappointing all over. And honestly, if they don't beat the Lions or don't at least beat them by, I'd say 2 scores, I think that's questionable, man. Like this team would scare me just because boat raced by the Saints, who are without, several players, and Jameis Winston's first game, running that offense completely. And then, the Lions had some fight against a good 49ers team. It's like, I don't know. I think there's still going to be question marks in Green Bay because they look that bad. Jeff, over to you. Who disappointed you?
There's definitely a lot. I mean, the Packers was definitely interesting, just how their whole team collapsed. But I'm going to go to another NFC North team. I'm going to go with the Vikings, Nolan. I'm sorry, man, but that was atrocious. Like, that looks like a team that should be tearing it all down, blow it up. Mike Zimmer, get him out of here. He's done. He's too old or whatever. I don't know what else to say. Like, I mean, listen, Joe Burrow did a good job. I also want to credit Joe Burrow, did a great job. Jamar Chase had nothing to do. I mean, you saw like on the 9 route there to the end zone. He's just like, you're not going to cover me, eh? Okay, cool. I'll just head down there. I'll grab myself a touchdown. Easy play for them. It was one of the worst displays overall from a team, in my opinion. Like, even worse than the Titans. The Titans was pretty abysmal, but like at least they were facing a good team. Like y'all were facing the Bengals, man. That's like at least the 3rd worst team in the NFL, unless Joe Burrow can just, carry the entire 53-man roster on his back. Like that was honestly disgusting. And I'm sorry. I feel bad for you, Nolan, honestly.
You know what, Jeff? I agree. Yeah. Tear it all down. You send Justin Jefferson over to the Falcons. You send Adam Thielen over to the Bears. Just start giving away all the guys. Dalvin Cook, give him to the Patriots. They could use another running back. Damon Harris, look, he put it on the ground. I know he had 100 yards. Put it on the ground. Give him to the Patriots. Just give away all the guys. Kirk Cousins, you can keep him. You know what? Keep Kirk Cousins. You can have him. That's fine. Other than that, just send all the good players our way.
It was painful. That first drive, I don't know how many false starts they had in that first drive. They had 6 total in the game. I think it was 4 alone by the offensive line, 2 by the fullback. CJ Ham, like it was a mess. Like the offensive line was just horrible blocking wise. And then obviously Jamar Chase, no drops in this game, but obviously you're not going to drop the ball when Bashad Breeland's covering you. I know I've already talked a bunch about PFF grades. I hadn't seen a PFF grade this low from a corner. 26. That was his grade in the game. Like that's almost like I can't even imagine. It was horrible. It was that bad, and clearly the corner position is going to be bad for them because Cam Dantzler, who looked good last year, he was a healthy scratch. Not ideal, to say the least. But yeah, they didn't perform well at all, Jeff. Luca, what about you?
I don't know what Urban Meyer and that coaching staff's doing over there, but Trevor Lawrence, 51 attempts, not running the football in his first ever game against the Houston Texans. Suspect. That's why they got blown out in week number 1. I didn't really like the game plan. I didn't know what they were trying to do, throwing the guy into the fire. I know at the beginning of last year, Zach Taylor just let Joe Burrow throw the ball like 65 times a game. But I mean, guys, the first week, James Robinson, Carlos, I mean, you drafted another running back. I understand Etienne is hurt, but you obviously wanted to go with a 2-back system. So there's Carlo Hyde in there. He got more rushes and attempts than James Robinson, who last year rushed for 1,000 yards and was one of the surprise players of the season. And you go into this game and you combine for 14 rushing attempts and 1 rushing attempts by Laviska Shenault. Didn't like the game plan. That's why they're 0-1. And that's why they're picking at the top of the draft every year. And I didn't really understand what they were doing going into that game, because 51 times for Trevor Lawrence, you give him no run game. That means there's no play action game. All Houston had to do was just sit back and let Trevor Lawrence make mistakes. Threw 3 interceptions. They got blown out. And this isn't, Ohio State where you have all the top players in the country here. This is the NFL.
What I was saying. It's what I was saying.
Yeah, you have one of the least talented rosters in the NFL. You can't just think, oh, okay, I got Trevor Lawrence. Let me just throw my way to victory like he did at Clemson. It doesn't work like that, and he got learned the hard way.
I will say Lawrence, obviously, the stat line didn't look great. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. When you're losing that much, you got to take chances.
Yeah.
He still had some really pretty throws in that game. Still a lot of throws that were dropped. There was one, they ran a play that made no sense because it was an empty backfield, but they went under center, and then it just everything was all out of whack. And Urban's getting roasted, and deservingly so. And everyone's saying with this new USC job, Clay Helton getting fired, that Urban's gonna just be gone after this year and going.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I think they'll bounce back eventually, but that's not a good sign. Houston's supposed to be the worst team in football, and they made you look like the worst team in football. Bradshaw, what about you?
I'll be the only one to pick one of my own team. The Atlanta Falcons offense was literally the worst thing I've ever fucking seen. Like, that was an abysmal display. Like, that was so bad. Like, and what makes it more frustrating to me, and I was saying this, Luke, I've said to a few people, is the defense played fine. The defense was okay for most of the game, and that's like the worst part. Is the worst part of the team by far, like what might be a bottom 3 unit this year, based on pure talent alone, that starting 2 safeties that are on 1-year deals was better than the offense that's supposed to be all, they got Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, Arthur Smith going to come in. The offensive line was garbage, absolute garbage. They ran the ball so well in the first half, and they just kept trying to run Mike Davis into the back of the offensive line, just trying their best. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching here? Like, this is so bad. And I mean, I know it's the first game in a new offense, but part of that is because you didn't play the starters in preseason at all. Like Kyle Pitts played 2 snaps. Matt Ryan didn't play a single one. Calvin Ridley didn't play a single snap. And I know you don't want to get the guys hurt, but it's a new offense. They have to play in real games to learn the offense. And I mean, if you're going to do this is the result. You're going to get blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles, who are not very good. They will not be a good team this year, but you're going to get killed by them because you didn't play the guys. No wonder the defense looked good, is because they're the ones that played in the preseason. It was such a bad and awful performance by the offense. I know they'll get better. I know that. But just poor Matt Ryan. I'm sure you all seen the meme of him just lying flat on his face, looking like an actual dead body. Just put a chalk outline around him and drag his old corpse off the field. My goodness, poor Matty Ice.
It was tough. I didn't watch the full game there, just seeing clips and just being like, how is Philly doing
Probably
this?
Probably good that you didn't watch the game. It was not good for anyone who watched it.
But you're right. Philadelphia's defense is nothing special.
No.
Gonna be, I don't even think it's a hot take. Atlanta's taking a new quarterback next year. I think that wherever they're drafting.
And it's not even through the fault of Matt Ryan either. Like, that's the thing. He still should be a fine quarterback. It's just he had no help from his O-line.
Yeah, they're might be in trouble. And it's already week 1. Speaking of teams that might be in trouble, let's go to way too early overreactions. So Bradshaw, coming right back to you. Give me a way too early overreaction.
Well, let me just clear out and talk about one of my least favorite. I know I put him high in our top 50. I don't care. Derrick Henry is not rushing for 1,100 yards this year. Not a chance. This guy, 2,000 yards last year, 15 the year before. Not a single chance. This team, and it's not just Arthur Smith. It's just he is not getting to 1,100 yards this year. He looked real bad in week 1. I think at one point I said in our group chat he had 9 carries for 7 yards, and he does that often. Like he'll have. I'm just the only thing that's going to hold me back is when he has the big games of like 200 yards that carry him to like 1,100 yards plus this year. But for my money, he's not hitting 1,100 yards after what I watched in week 1. I don't care.
Certainly an overreaction because I believe we said after this season who's going to be the best running back in football, and you still said Derrick Henry when we did our top.
Well, I didn't expect him to look this bad.
He did look bad, and you know what? And what's caused that is the last 2 seasons touching it how many times? 350 times, and rushing for nearly 2,000 yards and 2,000 yards this past season. Right? That's what happens. Wear and tear on a running back's body. Luca, what about you? Give me an overreaction.
Jeff, you ready for this one?
Okay, let's
you ready for this one? Chargers are going, man. They're going. They're going far, and I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm a huge, and you guys know before the season started, I was a huge Chargers believer this year. Well, just got even higher because I loved what I saw from them. First game, obviously, they made some mistakes, questionable calls. I don't know if you guys saw that touchback that was called back. It was pretty awful, honestly. It's video replay. Come on, guys. But I mean, Herbert looked good. Looked real good, Jeff. And that O-line, Nolan talked about it a little bit earlier with Rashawn Slater. He had lots of time to throw. And say what you want. If Herbert has it easier or not, he's got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams looked good, Austin Eckler. A little bit, you could tell he wasn't like the old Eckler that we're used to seeing. I know he was questionable before the game. You know, he was obviously out a lot last year because of his hamstring injury. He's still trying to get back into the game. Jared Cook looked pretty good also. Chargers are going. They're going. They're knocking out the Chiefs in the wild card round. And that's I'm sticking by it until it happens, because if it doesn't happen, no one expects it to happen. So if it happens, I look like a genius.
I think we knew their offense was going to be pretty good, but I will give some credit to Jeff because their defense looked pretty solid. But his defensive player of the year, Derwin James, he's already one of the best players in football. He's just
unbelievable.
Just keep him healthy. I'm pretty sure he had the highest, coverage grade for safety. There was the one play where Adam Humphries takes him out low, penalty, and he still racks up the tackle for a loss of 1 yard. Like, it was just, he's unbelievable.
Jeff, my defensive player of the year, Joey Bosa. Come on, had a sack too.
He was great.
Get out of here. Come on. He was very good.
He had lots of pressures, and he got screwed over a few times for roughing the passer, which was annoying. I hate those. Yeah. Jeff, give me an overreaction.
Okay, well, I am going to have to go with, and there's quite a few I think we could easily go with. I've already ragged on the Titans enough. It already seems like they're not even going to make it does seem like they're not going to make the playoffs.
They're still going to make the playoffs.
But, maybe, I don't know. But I think honestly
that division is so dog crap that they'll make the playoffs by default.
I think this might be my overreaction. So the NFC East was the worst division last year. The AFC South is by far the worst division this year. Oh my goodness. Sorry, it's not the NFC North. I believe the Packers will bounce back. I believe the Bears will even bounce back. The Vikings, but I believe that the NFC South, despite the talent that they have with the Colts. I mean, I'm sorry, I did not expect that. I mean, I knew Seattle was good. I didn't expect them to just just run them over. And honestly, Carson Wentz, it actually looks like he's getting help. It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. The Colts, it's sad because I was really hoping. It just seemed like they built the team the right way. They were kind of fun. Frank Reich, great coach. It's really unfortunate, but it looks like this whole thing is going to blow up. And we're going to have I don't know, what would it be now? A 9-8 or something? Was it 9-8 or 9-7? Or sorry, or
9-8.
Do the math for me, guys.
It's 9-8.
9-8. Thank you. It's a 9-8 season. It's gonna be brutal, man. It's gonna be brutal. To watch that division. I think you could even have two teams potentially with just a 1-win season in this 17-game season. It's honestly pathetic.
Are you saying we watched the Houston Texans only win?
Tyrod
Taylor is leading them to a 9-win season. God damn it!
They're leading the div, guys. They're leading the division.
They're undefeated. You're talking crap about the undefeated Houston Texans.
They do get to face the Jags again one more time, so they might get 2 wins. But what I will say is, I don't know who is going to win that division. It's probably going to be between Tennessee and Indianapolis, but they both had flaws. I think everyone thought Colts defense was going to be better. Russ cooked them. I think that Seattle offense looks really fun right now. But also I saw Carson Wentz target his running backs more in the game than his receivers. So that's not a great sign. He didn't look too good. Someone who also didn't look too good, he hasn't looked too good at all over the last few years. Here's my overreaction. The Giants, they got to blow it up. They suck. That O-line is maybe the worst in football. You're always going to have this injured running back, and he's so talented. Saquon is so talented, but he can't do anything when this O-line is holding him back. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. There's nobody who likes fumbling more than him. Whatever the number was, it was something ridiculous. In his first however many starts, 49 fumbles lost. Something very David Carr-esque with the sacks and fumbles. It's not good. And also Denver's defense is good. We knew that. But Denver's offense, you mentioned Teddy Bridgewater, who did look, great. This is supposed to be the strong suit of the Giants team is their defense. And they got torn apart by Teddy B. Melvin Gordon's supposed to be washed up, and he, scampered for a 70-yard touchdown, had 100 yards on the ground. Javonte Williams still did his thing. The Giants don't look good. They're going to be drafting the top 5, and it's going to be Malik Willis season for the Big Blue coming out. Like they need to go a different direction and get a quarterback because Daniel Jones is not it. And I feel bad for Saquon because you can't pay him now. Just too many injuries. You're not putting up the numbers either. Not good for the Giants.
Are you telling me that it was a bad idea to pay Leonard Williams that much money after one good season? No. I, for one, am shocked.
Not a good team. Not good.
That kills me, man.
Speaking of those Giants, let's go Thursday Night Football. Probably not going to be a good game at all. Giants at Washington. Spread is 3.5 right now for Washington. I'm going to pounce on that right away. Washington's coming off a tough loss to the Chargers. I do think the offense did look better with Taylor Heineke, though. Fitzpatrick obviously got banged up early, but I think Heineke's got a little bit can move around a little bit better. I know Fitzpatrick probably can place the ball a little bit nicer in tougher spots, but I think Heineke's going to do his thing and they'll be okay and be able to move the ball, against this Giants defense. And Washington's defense is going to destroy Daniel Jones in that O-line. Like Chase Young and Montez Sweat didn't get it done last week. Sorry. I think they're going to put up numbers. 2 sacks each for those boys. I think it's going to be low scoring, really sucky, NFC East game. But yeah, I'm pounding Washington on the 3.5. Jeff, where are you going on this one? Giants and Washington. Are you muted, King?
Sorry. Thank you. It's like you said, pretty much like with the brutal offensive line of the Giants and then the defensive front of the Washington football team. It just seems like they might even beat them by 7, honestly. And then with Daniel Jones, I mean, maybe a good bet would be if you can't even find it, how many times he's going to fumble in this game? Because I feel like they're just going to go for the ball. I mean, you should. I think that would be more fun for everybody. It would actually make this game interesting, Nolan, is if Chase Young and everybody on that front just said, let's see how many times this guy can fumble, just because that'd be entertaining. But yeah, I think they easily cover that spread. I think, man, Thursday night wasn't a year or two ago that it was actually the fun game. Or is the fun match of the week. Now it's back to the dud again.
It's hit or miss. I mean, we had a good one in week 1.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah, but that's the opener. That's different.
That's
the
true.
Opener's
That's true.
Different.
We'll have to see what the rest of the Thursday night schedule has for us.
We're going to get a lot of AFC South games. I'll tell you that.
Next week's a dud too.
Well, what's
Tyrod Taylor in prime time, folks?
Tyrod Taylor versus Sam Darnold.
Ooh.
Why?
And then it's Jags versus Bengals.
That's a battle for my heart. That's also a battle for my heart. My God.
Then a couple more weeks, you got Rams versus Seahawks. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go. All right. So yeah,
who wants to watch that?
All right. So Jeff's pouncing on Washington there as well. Luca, I'm assuming you're in the same boat.
I am. Yeah. I think Washington's one of those teams. This might be another overreaction. I think if they just have a competent QB, they can go pretty far in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I think their roster is really good. Terry McLaurin kind of got locked up, I'll be honest, on the weekend. But, hey, listen, they got Gibson, who didn't start playing running back until, his first year in the NFL, and he's had a really good season. They use him a lot. The defense, we don't got to talk about that. I think Washington's a competent QB way. Even if they have, a Jimmy G maybe, I feel like that would be enough to, win the division and maybe cause an upset in, a wild card game. I think this roster is really well constructed. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely, they're definitely going to destroy the Giants. I think Daniel Jones, he's going to be having nightmares. Remember that meme we saw with Eli's eyes a couple years ago? He was getting so scared. That's probably what's going to happen on Thursday night because they're going to be all over
That is interesting. Jimmy G, even though he looked pretty good against Detroit the other day, they drafted Trey Lance for a reason. That would be interesting to see Jimmy G in Washington. But that's an episode for another day. Bradshaw, you making it a grand slam?
Yeah, I would have liked to try to troll and find a way to pick the Giants here. There's
You
no
just
way.
couldn't.
I'm not picking the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the line's even 3.5. What the hell is that? Jeff said a touchdown. I'm surprised he only said a touchdown. This could be more than that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So we're all on Washington. Not going to be the greatest game in the world, but if you have Washington defense in NFL fantasy football, they might go off. It could be a fun one. All right, guys, almost wrapped up. Let's go move forward and continue on to week 2 for the Sunday games. What is the game you're looking most forward to? We said you can't say Chiefs and Ravens. That's Sunday Night Football. It's obvious. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson in those games, except for last year, tend to be very, very good. Bradshaw, give me a game that you're looking forward to.
I'm glad you started with me because I feel like one of you probably has this game. Cowboys and Chargers, just because all the offense. I just want to see offense. I'm going anti-Jeff. I just want to see just bombs being thrown. Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert. I want to see some big time bombs. I don't want to see it. Don't hand it off a single time to Elliott or Eckler. I don't want to see it. I don't care. No one wants to see that. I don't want to see Ezekiel Elliott try his best. I don't care. Let me see just some
try his best.
Let me see some just goddamn deep passes down the field. It's going to be a fun game.
Luca, what about you?
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, that's why Brad went first. Yeah, he took my game. But there was another game. I think Rams Colts could be a good one. Matthew Stafford. We talked about the Colts kind of underperformed, but I think it's going to be a fun game. We'll see how Carson Wentz does, but I'll slap on the Rams too at -4. I think they're going to easily cover that.
Jeff, what about you?
Well, there was a guy that I guess you could say would have been one of my disappointments. He's been kind of going on the radar. People have been a little soft on that boy from the middle of Wyoming over there. Josh Allen was, he's been exposed, so I'm glad I put him high on our list of top 50 players.
Exposed after 1 week.
I am so happy about this. So you know what, Josh, this should be pretty much a layup. You've destroyed this team before, you're not facing the Pittsburgh Steelers, which are a great defense. And, you can keep up with Tua Tagovailoa, who's, I don't think that much better than Ben Roethlisberger right now, especially, when you consider the weapons and everything. So this is the game. This is the put up or shut up for the Buffalo Bills. Because if they stink it up in this one, they're out of there, buddy. Yeah.
That's winning the div if they lose this.
You can enjoy another.
I watched that whole Mac Jones game, Luca. They're not making the
playoffs
playoffs this year.
He played actually. You know what? He played well, Brad.
He played okay.
They need
he did get bailed out. Well, I guess we're doing a review of that. He got bailed out on that 3rd and 1 on that roughing the passer. He got bailed out on that.
Happens. What are you gonna do?
There's been a lot of overreaction to Mac Jones. Oh, he's so poised. Look at him go. There's that blue collar work ethic from Mac and Cheese Jones.
I do think so far, obviously he played really well, and I do think he's extremely accurate. The arm strength does scare me, and I think there was plays, Luca, where he's good in the pocket. Here comes pressure. He knows he's got to get the ball out, and it's a deeper throw, say 25, 30 yards. And it's not enough zip on it, and then it allows the defender to break it up. But he still looked really good, especially for his first game in Miami. They're no joke on defense. I'm glad you did bring up Josh Allen though, Jeff, because I said he's going to be the player who regresses. Didn't look good. Didn't look accurate at all. So. I know it's 1 week, but I'm going to say a point for me. I'll get on that horse early. One for me, it's you guys already mentioned it. Cowboys and Chargers. That's going to be, fireworks. The only thing that worries me is that Cowboys defense still sucks. So Herbert should have a fun day, but Dak and all these weapons, it's going to be hard for obviously the Chargers to hang with most of them too. That's just going to be a really, really fun, exciting game. So should be a blast, and I guess we'll see. After that game, if Justin Herbert is finally showing some improvement to Jeff.
If Justin Fields was starting, this is off topic. I'm just going to try to avoid that whole thing. If Justin Fields was starting for the Bears, I'd be really intrigued by Bengals Bears this week. Yeah, but alas, we will not be getting that. We'll be getting him coming in for a handful of plays because he's not quite ready yet.
When do you guys think
I'm telling you, Matt Nagy was watching the San Francisco game. He's like, you know what? We can't have that. Justin, get ready, buddy. Yeah, because he definitely did not plan that. There's no there's no shadow of a doubt he did not plan that. He just saw that. I was like, I'm kind of jealous of that. That's smart. Let's do that.
I'm going to say halftime week 2. I think Dalton's going to be,
already.
Don't get my
I don't know. I just think that they bring him into
Don't get my hopes.
You saw how excited the team got when Fields scored the touchdown. Dalton is like on 3rd and 20 throwing checkdowns to the tight end. It just, I bet they're going to be losing at halftime, down 2 scores, and they're just going to say, put him in. This isn't like a defense that's going to torture him like everyone said the Rams were, who were good, but again, it's not like it was Aaron Donald going crazy the whole entire night. I don't know. That just, maybe it's a hot take, but that's what I see. One game that's going to be bad is Cardinals and Vikings. Vikings O-line is going to get shit on. It's not going to be fun, and they're going to be 0-2, and I'll be crying. That's going to do it.
You can share in the tears after the Falcons get blown up by the Bucks. So
that's minus 13.
Hammer it.
That is insane.
Take it. They're losing by at least 3 scores.
Brady was still roasting the Falcons for the 28-3.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, I've had about enough.
Okay, and I'll call the night. That's the Cover 4 podcast. Bradshaw, Luca, Jeff. That is our week 1 review. Again, episodes weekly, guys. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, on Spotify, and check out Lingo Sports on YouTube, and share us around. That would be nice. Like, share, subscribe. Always a treat. We'll see you guys later.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.